In the ashes of broken worlds, legends are born. Godships of iron and flame, forged in the hearts of dying stars. Fallen gods who once held the cosmos in their grasp, now whispering through rusted steel and shattered stone. Beasts of a forgotten war, machines of impossible design rise from a planet reborn. And amidst it all, a child of iron and flame, destined to save man and machine, to shine as their light and beat back the creeping darkness of the void. Together, watch as the broken universe comes alive with epic builds and ancient legends.
Well, we're going to start building this Raxolith, and I'll put that spelling up on the screen. Vraxxlith, I don't know. Coming up with names is hard. So this head I found off a little tractor toy, and it was like a little backhoe tractor, and I just thought this head looked really cool, so I have kept it for years. And I thought, well, if I'm going to watching Bill Making Stuff, one of my favorite channels, make some really cool robots and creatures, and introducing craft foam and metal plating and rivets and all this. I thought this would be a really cool dragon head or snake head, something like that. So this is what I had been saving it for, and as I've been collecting hundreds and hundreds of lids, a lot of them I get as I go out on Thursdays, is recycle day. The recycle can goes out on Thursday in my neighborhood, so I go around and just lift the lids as I go by, and if there's something in sight that I can grab, a spray bottle they're throwing away, or some water bottles or milk jug, any kind of jug that has or bottle that has a lid, I grab it. And so I have so many. Lids are usually too glossy, so I'm hitting them with a little flame right there. Another trick from Bill to take off that little shiny patina. So I need to run this wire through the head so I can beat up all these. I am being really careful here, just so you know. I have the video sped up. This is a lot slower in real time than what it looks like here, which looks pretty dangerous. But yeah, no blood, so we're good. Anyway, so I'm getting a hole so I can run that thick armature wire through, so I can start lacing on all the lids to make this segmented part of my serpent body. And so that's what I'm doing here. I thought it'd be cool if it had a little lava gun on the front of it, and so I'm installing this little piece of a spray bottle that I'll glue on, and it'll kind of be like a little shooting spout in his mouth that you end up not being able to see because the mouth stays closed the whole time. But anyways, that was the thought. So now I have to decide how the first few lids are going to go, so then I can kind of have a pattern. Obviously I want to go from kind of smaller to bigger, kind of have it grow and then taper back down at the end. And so I've drilled holes for a lot of these. I've sized them, pre-sized them. I've noticed here that I love the texture on the part of the bottles that have that you screw the lid on, the top part. So I started cutting those off too. So this is one of those, that clear piece, that right there is, the part you screw the lid onto, but it has really cool texture. What I found out though is it makes it a lot harder to stack, because it doesn't fit tightly on the wire. It kind of moves around a lot, which kind of became an issue later. I solved the problem, but it looked cool, and texture was my main goal right now, is getting it to not just look cool. No, to have it just look cool. That was that's my goal. I want it to look cool. So as I'm feeding it together, I can see it in my mind. I know what this thing is supposed to look like, and I know I'll get there. got to kind of, you know, fit them, put them in, see what looks cool, starting to shape it. You know, this thing, you know, it was in my head. I knew what it was going to look like. You know, there's a quick little image of it that I know what it was going to look like. And when I'm done, it's just so satisfying because that's the image I had in my head. And that's what comes out. You just got to take your time. So here I am patiently feeding them on, building it from smaller kind of to bigger size lids. And then it'll kind of go back to smaller, kind of give it that, you know, snake shape. And I got it back on. You can see how those cool textured lids, the spouts of the lids they look cool, but they don't fit very tight. I fixed that later, but I got it all put together. 45 lids. Yeah, I counted them, but it's really wobbly. It does not hold its shape, and the lids are too loosey-goosey. I must have done this when I was tired at night. Anyway, so I'm like, I need to get it in the shape I want, and then I had the idea of taking some long wood screws and screwing it through the lids and just kind of fusing them together. So you can see a screw right there. That's holding about four or five lids in place. It might be the second one I've done. And so I'm now just kind of prepping each piece, gluing it on these cool textured grooved tops of the bottles need to be glued on, and then I can start stacking caps on them. So that's what I'm doing here. I mean, it's amazing how time flies when I do this stuff because it's just so much fun. I really love it. That I've watched YouTube videos for years now. Probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I started building on my own. And when I got introduced to Bill making stuff, his channel just kind of opened up the whole world for me, what's possible. So it's now really secure, and it's not moving, so I'm really happy. And now I'm still building. I wouldn't really call this greebly time. Maybe it's a little greebly-ish. I don't know. That's those are spouts off of like baby food yogurt bottles. And so I'm prepping those so I can put some exhaust vents on the back of this big mechanical serpent. It's gonna have, like, you know, flame and smoke pouring out the back. I'm just making it look cool and robotic. I found these two pieces in one of my bins. I have no idea what they go to. So I'm just, you got to modify a lot. This little Dremel tool with the sander on it, I use it all the time with plastic because it's so easy just to modify the plastic and get the molding bits of plastic that are underneath, usually that aren't seen. You can get those out of the way pretty easy, either with some snips or with that. And here I am again. This is sped up. I did this much slower, but I did. You know, if you use your X-Acto, use it slow, and you can get rid of excess glue and stuff. And I was careful, although I do cut myself quite often. But most crafters will have band-aids and blood. It's just part of the experience. So here now I'm like, okay, this thing's still a little loosey, but I know I want to make plates, segmented plates going on top of these lids as part of this build. And so that I just came up with that in my head, that design, and it's good. So I'm going to replicate that many times and just segment it right up the back of this giant Vraxolith mechanical serpent beast, all part of the broken universe, the universe I'm building. And that looks so good. I realized that was my last piece of black foam, so I just switched to purple, which doesn't matter. But I've learned how to kind of mass produce these things, but you can't really cut precision, so you got to kind of do them one at a time. But it's cut them to size, and then it's pretty easy once you get going. Anyways, the broken universe is my universe. Bill has the gutter lands in his, and Dan does is doing his universe, and Gamey Builds has his. Everyone has their own universe because it's our stuff we're building. I'm I am really thankful for the inspiration I get from Bill. The possibilities of my build quality went up 100-fold after watching Bill's videos. Just so much potential in using craft foam and the different tips and tricks he showed me. And I've got some cool builds I've done. I'm really proud of the tank I built, which is basically a copy of his Rolling Rock. But I mean, that build just blew me away. I probably watched that video 20 times. I really loved it. So this is just an extension of the skills I learned watching him build and make everything, instead of just like I used to do, take a bunch of broken toys and dollar store stuff and kind of kit bash it together. This right here, adding foam to plastic, that's a Bill making stuff trick. He's like, put some EV foam in there, and EV foam sticks to EV foam every time, and works every time. That's hilarious. As I'm doing this voiceover, my brain's in the same place. This is a little piece I saw. It had a really good texture on it. There are just some pieces that was off the top of some plastic Jeep or something, but it's got rivets already on it. It's got cool segmented metal panels, and so I thought that would fit perfect. I did heat it up and kind of bend it so it was concaved, so it would fit the lids better, but I cut that part out. Remove that part, and then knew I needed some EV foam in it, and gonna glue it on and stick it underneath, kind of like a little Cobra hood underneath his head. But those added details are important. You gotta add them. There's a little super glue, hot glue combo, because sometimes you don't have time to wait for things to dry, so I just sometimes will do both. But yeah, now I kind of sometimes I forget to turn on the camera here. I've already got the arms glued on. I've got some smokestacks glued on, and that chin piece, and it's just so much fun when it starts coming together like this. Again, here's another Bill making stuff. Suggestion: using hair curlers, and really all he's saying is just find things that have cool textures and look cool. We're all making our own universe, which is fun. Our own little imaginations, our own worlds. It's kind of funny. It seems like we all kind of hail from the same era, the 70s and 80s. We all seem to be the same age that run these channels, which is kind of funny. Something about growing up with the first Star Wars and the first, 80s fantasies and sci-fi movies that did something to our brains, where we just want to scratch build and put things together and use our imaginations, because we did not rot our brains on screens and social media. So I guess we still got something left in the tank. So here you go. You're going to get a mechanical segmented awesome snake, because I still got a few brain cells left. It is awesome too. As you get older, you get more experience and more ideas and more time to think about things. And so there's a lot to be said about experience and creativity. And it's just such like I said, an amazing, fun hobby. Taking something, making it out of trash, and making something that never existed in the world. And here's one of a kind. Sure, there might be something similar, but nothing exactly like it, and no one could replicate it. Not a chance. I couldn't even replicate it, because there's just no way. So having stuff that's one of a kind is actually really cool. I really like it. It's a big adrenaline rush when these builds come together, and it's also kind of a relief when it's stuck in your brain. So here I am, just knocking out more gears. These are little gears from toy cars that you pull back and let them go. These little plastic sprockets and gears. Just adding them on in different places that seems like a place would need a gear to turn to make this machine go. I'll talk more about its lore later, but basically all of my creations are living and have their own intelligence, kind of like Transformers. There's like a, from one of those hex bug spiders. This is the legs. I ripped them off gently, and now I thought they'd be really cool to go underneath the jaw, like little grabber pincers to shove things in its mouth, besides the big blue ones for grabbing and moving. And it does, it looks really cool. I'm really excited about the opportunity to, once you build something and once I make it and get it done, putting some of this in AI and seeing if it can animate it and generate it. I think that's a good way to use AI, a good way to take this stuff to the next level. So that's my plan. So we'll see what we get to here at the end. I'm still working on that. Just reinforcing things with glue. I use a lot of hot glue. I know a lot of scratch builders like super glue. I use super glue too, but man, it's just so fast to build with hot glue. I really like it. And then I come back later and hit things with super glue. That seems to work good for me, especially if I'm not that concerned about being super neat. On my tank, it was mostly super glue, but man, hot glue makes you be able to go so fast. It's really enjoyable. But man, look at this thing. It's really coming together. And you can see on my desk there, on my work table, I've got a lot of the little scraps and greeblies that I thought would look cool. I have them out on the desk, so I can just grab them and just keep going. And so these are the little stoppers, the little bubble wands that you get at weddings and stuff. And most of the stuff I get from Goodwill. But this is just stuff I'm making up. These are just, electrical current panels or heat conductors. His tail is going to be a big magma cannon that he can use to fight or to propel himself as he's going through steel and metal and all these on this world. Arakia, where they live, there's all these different, there's like a whole mountain range that's all crashed city-sized giant warships. So it's like a whole range that's just debris and ships. I know that's not completely original. Lots of people do it. I think Bill even has something like that in his universe. But it's such a cool idea, and it just sparks so much imagination and leaves so much room for possible other builds and creatures. So we're getting close. I do add a few more things to it, but it's pretty close. You kind of get the sense when you're done. You can just feel it. I do feel like there's a few things that I want to put on there, so I go back and add some more little side feet, like from the bubble part you blow through, and a few little. I got these little green clips and gears from fake Lego stuff, and I'm like, well, I'm just adding things until sometimes you go too far and you're like, nah, it's not good, and sometimes you're like, oh, that's perfect. And so here we are, kind of in the perfect range. There's one of my ships I built in the background. You can see there, that's one of the god ships, the big giant ship. That's kind of my logo, actually, my logo ship. That's the Crucible, or the Iron Mother. We'll talk about that ship later. But so I'm just adding these last little kind of pistons and stuff between plates. And that's what one cool thing about craft foam too, is you can kind of wedge things in and make it look really cool. It's just such a good product, and this is just such a fun hobby. This is like, $6 worth of crap, from the garbage, from craft stores, and from thrift stores, and making something that just is going to end up being epic and awesome. That's such a great hobby. I really love it. I want to be part of this kind of community. So I'm injecting myself and starting this channel and trying to do decent videos off the bat because I'm too old to have too much of a ramp up time. So I've watched enough of good videos and bad videos to at least kind of try harder, which I am. Editing is slow, but it's satisfying. So this is, again, the last few pieces, and then we're going to get into painting, which is I'm not very good at. And when you hear crafters say they're not good at it and it's hard, it's because it is hard. But I do paint, I do art, I do things, but this kind of painting is definitely a skill you learn how to add the right kind of colors and layers to make cool looking metal, rust, all kinds of effects. I tried doing fire, lava, and that was a disaster. So I'm glad I got to try it, and then I just covered it, which is a great thing about painting. You mess up, you just cover it. I really shouldn't be giving painting tips now because I'm going to be painting, but anyways, these are the last little few deals. I'm glad to see I only have one puller pop on the table instead of two like I did earlier in the video. Here's a bit of a bigger sprocket. I thought it would be cool here in the kind of the bend of the back. Like this is kind of like the main pivot point. Got that glued on, and it'd be cool to put like a little ridge here. I have one more of these hex bug legs. Thought we'd do a little ridge on the head. And it's really coming together. Doesn't it look cool? I mean, just look at that thing. It is really starting to look tough. And you're going to love it once it's primed. Man, it just is such a rush to prime these things. So, yeah, I'm just so grateful for this hobby. It's just such a fun hobby. And a lot of really supportive people enjoy watching videos like this, like I do, the guys who make them. And I'll be part of it. This little thing I always do, and now that I've got my thin super glue, I'm kind of done with all of my greeblies, and now I'm just hitting everything with this thin glue that kind of just runs around the edges and seals it all, glues it all, and then I'm gonna paint over it so you're not gonna see it. So that's it. Then you take a little heat gun and you hit all the hot glue strands and threads. They all melt away and clean it up, getting ready for paint. And so I'm just getting a little heat bath here on this guy. And that's the work counter behind my work table in front of my other work table. I know I'm spoiled rotten, but oh, here I actually went inside. This is my inside my house on my desk at my office, and it's time for rivets. And rivets are actually tedious, but really satisfying. I'm trying this new rivet tool, bead tool, but I mean rivet tool. It's a little bead for small beads. It's got a little plastic end. You grab it, dip it in the super glue, and then put it on there. It's got another end tip on the end to move things around. Works great. I think I prefer the sharp X-Acto knife a little better. But this is pretty fast. It can go fast, but then sometimes the little beads will get stuck in the glue or the plastic's not grabbing it, and it's a little frustrating. You got to kind of wipe it off and get it clean. If it gets a little too much glue on the surface, it won't grab. But I'm not going to do a big montage like Bill and putting rivets on everything. You get the concept. Rivets are cool, and they hold the metal plates on. It makes it look legit. So just do a few more of these, and then we'll show you what it looks like. There we go. I've got about 30 of those containers full of these beads that were on sale at Joann's. So proud of myself. And then I watched Dr. Toys, and he's got the exact same beads, these little half rounds, and he uses them for rivets, and he uses the same tool. And it's funny how you think you're original, and then you realize, oh, everybody uses Final Faction. I thought that was just me. No, everyone uses it. Everyone uses the same stuff. It's a kind of cool crafting community. We help each other. Hey, this is what you want to do. Again, this looks dangerous. I'm doing this on much slower. It is dangerous still though, so be careful, but you gotta weather. And so this thing's a battled beast, an old dog. This is definitely boss level Vrasilisk. This thing's huge, like over 50, 60 feet long. No idea what that is in meters, and I don't care. I'm from America, but this thing is needs some battle damage. And the craft film looks really cool, like shredded, damaged metal when you're done. So again, looks dangerous, but I'm going much slower. And trying to hit the edges where I think this thing would be scraping through old battleships and spaceships and stuff. Making a few holes. My plan was to put lava and flame and stuff in there. And I kind of do that a little. I did go back and add some red and some things in there because the lava failed, but it looks good. So swinging around, taking one final look, and I love that there's a shut-off valve on his tail, like someone's going to run up and try and shut it off. Heading outside, there's my van and my work van in my neighborhood, and I'm going to hit that thing with some primer. Boom. So anyways, doesn't that just look amazing? You could stop there and just be so satisfied. Painting it, priming it, just ties it all together. And yeah, you have all these, it just looks like it was made that way. You probably saw some money there in the back tail. The thing kept on kind of tipping forward a little, so I threw some money in the back of that thing. So now it's definitely worth something. I could sell it at least for something now. This is dry brushing, and this is super satisfying. You take a highlight color, and I want to highlight the metal and all the rivets and plates. And you want to this is a makeup brush, and you want to get a little paint on it, and you don't want too much or you'll just paint, but rub it off, and then just lightly brush, and it picks up all the edges, pick up that paint, and look how great it looks. And here I'm stippling on. Stippling is something you learn as a crafter. Up to the edges, but not past, because that makes it look really cool, and it really does. I really like this color. I wish I would have stuck with this color, but I went a little more copper in the end and really did a heavy wash and went a little crazy. Had to go back in and kind of retouch it up, but that's such a cool color. I really like that subtle brassy, more brass than copper. I might have to try that on my next one. But my wife's out of town, so I set up a tarp and my table inside and watched the big screen and enjoyed painting with freedom and could leave everything out. My family was out of town for a few days, so it worked out perfectly. So I'm enjoying. You want to watch something while you're painting because it's pretty mind-numbing. As you see, this is just the same thing over and over, and you can at least listen to something. I do like audiobooks and other stuff, but this is really fun. So I'm putting some red on now. I don't know. I kind of know the core colors I like. I know I want this thing to look like. It's burnt. It has fire, it has lava in it. It's a beast. It's metallic. So I just keep adding colors to create that look. And I definitely want the cool segmented lids to really pop. I want the foam to pop, and I think it was a success. It really is turning out good. I'm really happy with it. Let's see. I'm I'm using acrylic paints. I do an oil wash now because that's what everyone does. I have used acrylic washes and I think they're fine too, but the oil wash does seem a little more posh, a little more profesh, so maybe I'll just keep doing that. But anyways, it's just painting is just stippling, get up to the edges and making it look metallic. It really helps with a metallic worn paint look. That's what you want. That's what I wanted for this anyways, and so it's looking really good. I can't be happier with this thing. Let's see here. I've got my, you see I got a little roundabout. I found that at Goodwill, little thing you put in the middle of your table for your sugar and spices and stuff to share at the dinner table. It makes a great painting tray to spin it around, and if you don't want to touch it, if it's too wet, I'm clearly not worried about that right now, but sometimes you want to just be able to turn something and check the right side, check the left side, and make sure you're kind of keeping it even, and having something you can spin on is really really satisfying and I think essential. Ugh, okay, man, I went from a great paint job to where I tried the lava. I warned you I tried lava. It did not work. We're working up an oil wash here to see if I can tone it down. That didn't work, so I hit it with copper again and covered a lot of that. That was a huge fail on the fire and lava. The YouTube videos make it look way easier than it is. So I went back to copper, and that's fine. We're back to where we want to go. I'll wash it, do a wash again. And so here I'm just trying to get the details in, get the little things with the paint, and get rid of some of that ugly lava I did. Adding some blacks in the areas, and especially between the segments of foam, where you can kind of still see the colored lids. So I'm using a fine tip brush to kind of get in there. But don't worry if you mess up a paint. Just paint over it. It's very simple. Don't stress. I really just turned this thing black with my wash. Yeah, it's a learning curve. Like I said, I'm just kind of mimicking what I've seen done on these crafting channels, these scrap building channels, and trying to do it my way and learn. And you just have to do it. You get experience by doing it. You never are going to be successful if you only watch. So practice and do things. So here I am wiping off some of the excess black wash I put on this thing. Way too much. I went way too heavy. It does look cool though, and it does look kind of charged. So that's, like I said, as long as that's what I think it should be, it's not a mistake. So no one can say it is. But anyways, being careful not to splatter on the carpet. That would be bad. Or on my couch, and be really careful when you get up and bend down when you got paint and wash and things. Go slow, be careful, especially if you're in a danger zone like I am. But now I'm just looking at it. I'm just kind of taking it in, and I'm just so satisfied with this. It's just so good. I will do a few little other highlight it up a little brighten a little, but it looks great. So I'm really happy.